Hello there, this is AgriTalk right here on KTN Farmers TV. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Thank you for joining us today. Now, today we'll be talking about farming and the whole idea of getting into the farming business. And joining me is Frederick Achar, who is the Monitoring, Evaluation, Learning and Research Leader at Agribora. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for hosting.
And now, today you'll get to learn more about Agribora and what it does to the smallholder farmers, and you also as a farmer, what are the requirements that you need in order for you to get into agribusiness? All right, let's get right into the conversation and start with the whole idea of farming in Kenya. Where are we in terms of trying to bridge the gap between production, the farmer, and also the market?
Thank you so much. It's a hard question of where are we?
Yes. Where are we from where you sit?
Yeah. I would say we are generally on the right track, but there is this thing we call optimality in economics, where you produce at a level that is at least good for the inputs and good for the resources that you put in it. And we're not at optimum yet.
Yes.
We are not at optimum, but our production path is doing well. Doing well in the sense that we have, as a country, as a people, as an economy, have realized the value of agriculture into our economy and into our livelihoods as the Kenyan community. So I would say we are on a good path, but we are not there yet. So that's what I would say about agriculture at the moment.
All right, and also still on that point, smallholder farming in Kenya contributes almost 80% to the produce that we have, and at the end of the day, most of the smallholder farmers come from the remote areas, the rural areas. So as you go about this, and also Agribora, you train farmers, what is the challenge that is making us not to reach to the optimum, as you've mentioned before?
Well, I would start from the perspective of we, as the farmer community,
Yes.
we have been doing farming, and most of the farming that we are doing it the traditional inherited side activity way, the casual way, I would say. But agriculture, we know very well that agriculture is dependent on, mainly in Kenya, the agriculture that we are talking about here is dependent on weather, that is rains.
Yes.
Because not most of us do greenhouses and control the environment. So it is dependent on rains, and it is dependent on the same soils over and over again. So what I would say is it's not doing well yet because of that state of depending on rain and on the same soils, given that the practices that we have been using for time and time again have remained nearly the same.
Yes.
And if there are any changes, those changes are not influenced by data, are not influenced by information, but they're influenced, but mostly by social relations, which is not the good way to go for a business. Yeah.
All right, and also the way you've mentioned being influenced by social influences, when we look at someone who's getting into farming, a person who's never done farming before, but they say, okay, I want to start farming, and they maybe put all their savings into the farming business, and some months down the line or a year down the line, the produce is not really bringing in what they had expected. What is usually the wrong thing that someone does when they are getting into the business of farming?
Well, there is this perception that farming is a last resort. Farming is a side thing. Farming is a retirement
Yes.
option.
Yes.
But I want us to look at it from, if we look at it from that perspective, then that is where we lose it. Because if you were to put your money in a retirement option, if you were to put your money in a side thing, or if you were to put your resources in a by the way thing, then I think losing it should not be regrettable. But if you were to look at it as a business and
Yes.
as a main investment area, then the efforts that you put in every other business, like the matatu business, like the shop business, should be the same effort that you put into the farming activity.
Yes.
In so saying, when someone wants to get into farming, the first basic thing to do is a background check. There is quite some excitement about farming, where this season the maize farmers do so well, and then you say, fine, next season I get my retirement benefits, I put it into maize.
Yes.
How about if fall armyworm comes? Are you going to retire again and get some benefits? No.
No.
Is the farm going to apologize? No. So there are several background checks that need to be done, just like you do for every other businesses. Do you have a business permit? How is the security in the area? How is the customer base? How is the demand? All these things need to be done for farming as a business. And so when you do the background checks, you need to look at yourself, evaluate the whole thing. Start from the market end and look at yourself backwards. Now, if this is what the market demands, can I produce it? And if I can produce it, or if I should produce it, what do I need to put into it? Do I have the land? Do I have the favorable weather? Do I have the way to get to the market? And do I have the skills to do the farming activity? And that will then guide you into the specific value chain to do your farming activity, either crop or livestock, and which crop or which livestock to get into.
Yeah. And also at the value chain, when we look at farmers within one area who all of them are producing maize, or one area who all of them are producing macadamia, because some time ago there was a story on the farmers in the central area where macadamia is no longer bringing in the returns that it used to bring, because you find everyone saw their neighbor, okay, my neighbor is doing well in macadamia farming, so I need to do it also. So when it comes to a region within, maybe maize do well in this region, a farmer, someone says, okay, I want to get into the same kind of farming. Would you advise for them to do something different that is doing well there? Or they can still do the same, but also get better connections into the market? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. There are two aspects to look at it. There are two ways to look at it. One is the specialization way. Do I want to do something different from what everyone else does? But also, there is the second aspect is there is economies of scale. The question is, if I specialize and do it alone, one, there is exposure to the weather issues. You are the only one exposed to climate risks. You're the only one exposed to pests and diseases, for instance. You are the only one exposed to attacks and so on. But also, yes, at the same time, you stand a chance of being the only one to gain. But again, the question is, if you were to produce all by yourself and you're the one that is specializing in this commodity, are you able to produce the minimum quantity demanded by the market? And that will tell you whether to go into the crowded maize farming or the crowded macadamia farming, or now you want to specialize into soybeans. So these are the considerations that we need to make, or as someone wants to venture into farming, apart from the influence that everyone else is doing it. Because again, you find that off-take markets leverage on the quantities produced in an area. And with specialization, you can either produce quantities of a unique product and supply it, or you can produce the same product but in a different quality that then gives you leverage and an upper hand over the crowding. So it is important for someone to consider that, am I able to stand out from the crowd? Either stand out from the crowd by quantity or by quality. Yeah. And this is in response to the market.
Yes.
So the question is not whether everyone else is producing it.
Yes.
If the market demands it, and that everyone else producing it does not meet the market demands, then you still have room. And if the market demands it, and that everyone else who produces can meet the quantity demanded, but the quality is not yet met, can you beat the quality equation?
Yes.
Then you still can go into the crowded market. So this is how I would approach it.
All right. And now this brings us to a different issue. And now you've won Agribora T-shirt. Now we want just to just get into this because Agribora is a fintech, is an agri-fintech company that helps smallholder farmers through production, trains farmers on different kinds of farming, and also connects them to the market. So first of all, I think I would just want to know what motivated it to start, and how did you just think, okay, agri-fintech?
Well, agri-fintech is just, I would say, a complex word that combines what simple solutions exist or simple solutions
Yes.
should be created. But then it is derived from the problems or the issues that face small-scale farming or small-scale agriculture in Kenya and in Africa as a whole. So the motivation is to address these problems and ultimately get to a point where the farmer, the small-scale farmer, is bankable, is visible, and does profitable farming. We know very well that the same challenges that face small-scale farming, the issues of access to credit, the issues of access to market, the issues of assurance of good quality inputs, and the issues of advisory,
Yes.
are facing small-scale farmers. But again, we also know that the small-scale farm, from where we define a small-scale farmer, does not improve in size any day. If anything, land decreases. The more we are born, the more we divide it. But each of us wants a portion and wants to do agriculture. So the thing that I would say is that the challenges that affect small-scale farming led us to create solutions around these challenges and package them as agricultural finance, agriculture in the sense of agronomic practices, finance solutions, and technology solutions. We remember that the world is being driven very fast with technology and digitization, and it's all over. So if we leave agriculture sector behind, yet we say that 80% of our population depend on agriculture, then we will be misleading the technology drive or the digital drive, because then we will have succeeded in everything else, but missed on food, missed on raw materials from the farm. So that's why, as Agribora, we want to package it all together and then customize it for small-scale farming and then deliver it. So, as you asked earlier, you asked about what do we do then. So we have, as Agribora, 3 main products that I would talk about. One is AgriHub. 2 is Agricopa, and 3 is AgriMap. So AgriHub, from everything I talked to you about aggregation and minimum quantity demanded or minimum order quantity from the public.
Yes.
For us, we realized that small-scale farmers cannot produce sufficient quantity to attract large-scale buyer. So what do? They need to be able to aggregate their produce so that they can have sufficient quantity to attract the large-scale buyer. Because facts on the table, only the large-scale buyer pays well. No other middleman, no other intermediary pays as well as the large-scale buyer, because even those intermediaries target the large-scale buyer. So if they can aggregate, then they can attract the large-scale buyer. But the question is, how do they aggregate unless they become and they grow under a formal way of aggregation? So that is why we invest ourselves into training or identifying an individual or a group within an area to manage an agri-hub. So this agri-hub is just a one-stop shop within the localities, ward or something, where now this individual, a business-oriented individual, a business-minded individual, who then has the capacity to command or has the capacity to mobilize the requirements by the farmers and has the capacity to aggregate the output from the farmers. Now, with this AgriHub, this individual, we now facilitate them with technology. We offer them a platform where they can send SMSs to farmers, promotional SMSs. Here is what we have. We have it at this price, fertilizer or planting fertilizer. Farmer, come and you need to test your soil now, and this is what you need to do. This is how much it costs you. So they can send messages to farmers within their locality free of charge. Number two, we also facilitate these farmers who are registered on the platform under this AgriHub with agro-weather information services 2 times a week for free. In so doing, they have the capacity to now make decisions. If they were to harvest, is it likely to rain tomorrow? Should I harvest or not? If they were to plant or top dress, is it likely to rain in the next 3 days? Should I plant or top dress or not? That's one product. The second product is AgriMap. We know very well that preparation, both at the household or the farmer level and at the national economies, need projections. So we are developing an Earth observation product, Earth observation dependent product, which is called AgriMap. The AgriMap is both technology and the more high resolution maps combined with artificial intelligence to now set out crop type maps based on Earth observation data.
Yes.
So that we are able to say that in this season, 7 million acres of land is under maize. 200,000 acres is under beans. How useful is that information? It is useful that if we can project the harvest based on this acreage and crop type, then the government knows, should we look for export market or should we prepare to import from Zambia? The individual knows, should I prepare for market or should I prepare for subsidy? And this is the information, the second product that Agribora has. The third and the last product for now is Agricopa. The main challenge, again, with small-scale farming, and farming is a business, but people don't take it as a business, including the commercial or the mainstream banks or the mainstream financial institutions. Why? Because there is no assurance that it will rain. So why should I give you 1 million for farming? There's no assurance that you will harvest. There's no assurance that your livestock will survive the drought. So this assurance, we want to develop an assurance protocol. An assurance protocol such that how do formal employees get loans from banks? They're told to bring their bank statement, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They're told to bring their pay slips. We want to have a farmer, and a small-scale farmer for that case, who has a pay slip or a farm statement. And in this way, we are encouraging farmers under Agribora and under the AgriHubs to transact over the Agribora platform, where now their transaction records are logged into a system. Farmer Frederick bought fertilizer from Agrovet so-and-so. This was the fertilizer type, this was the price, and this is where the product, the crop he was targeting to apply it in. And he's been doing this, and then he harvested these quantities, he aggregated at this hub, and then he got this amount of money. He did this in season 1, he did it in this season 2, he did it in season 7, season 9. In season 13, Frederick wants credit. If I print all these transaction records for Frederick, then someone should be able to verify that Frederick is a farmer not by chance, but by intention. So if that happens, then the farmers can be bankable, courtesy of the small farming that they do, not courtesy of loan securities like collateral, not courtesy of guarantors, but courtesy of the small farming they do. Because it is the same way that we can now convince financial institutions to customize credits that are relevant for farming. Remember, farming has a unique income or a unique cash flow. Farmers are quite rich towards the end of the season and relatively broke at the beginning of the season. But when do they need the money? At the beginning of the season, when they need to acquire inputs. So you see, that difference makes farming inconsistent. So when it is done over a structured platform and a digital verifiable platform, then they become bankable and also they become visible, because then someone can just plug and play. I am on the Agribora platform, I apply for credit, say for example Agricopa, and then in partnership, because Agribora say partnership, as partnership with commercial banks, say cooperative or equity or other banks, then the moment I click that I need credit for inputs, how much? 1 million. Then equity should just click and look at my records, add that to other credit origination protocols that they have, and then evaluate and say, now Frederick is qualified for 700,000. Frederick, we are offering you 700,000 against the 1 million that you requested. Are you willing to take it or not? Yes, I'm willing to take it. I'll find out how to bridge it. So, yeah, that is how we are going to do it.
Okay, thank you so much for elaborating the three aspects that you've just spoken about. But I also want us to look at now in the farmer, and you've spoken about the pay slip, you've spoken about how you're supporting the farmer with Agricopa, So when it comes to farmers in general, because we have very many types of farmers in general, and they would want to join Agribora. What is the step by process of you to join Agribora and also to be verified and be able to use the services there? And how do you make sure that the farmers who are joining there are legit farmers, or they're not? They just don't want the funds and then they use them to do other things. So first of all, just give us a step-to-step by process of how a farmer in general can join Agribora.
Well, thank you. To join Agribora, the most preferred way is that you affiliate yourself to a hub. A hub being that one-stop shop, which you can join as an individual or as a group of farmers.
Okay.
Doing other value chains, specific or general farming. And there is a USSD code that you'll need to dial to join Agribora. But then it would be most preferred if you affiliate yourself to a hub. The reason is the hub manager now becomes your direct contact person, because then you can now aggregate your demand. This is what I need for the season, and this is what I have for the output, and so you can easily liaise with the hub manager. Because in Agribora approach, we are blending technology and human touch. Now the human touch side is the hub manager. So if you can affiliate yourself to one of the hubs, then it will be great. Because at the moment we are in Western Kenya, that is in Siaya, Kisumu, Bungoma, Kakamega, Busia, and in Rift Valley we are in Uasin Gishu. So if you can associate yourself to one of the hubs, the better. But again, you can directly join Agribora by dialing *384# and then you follow the prompt. Now, apart from that, you asked about so how do we validate?
Yes.
Now, the other thing that I really need to remind us is the Agricopa aspect of the Agricopa product. We do not, one, offer credit ourselves. The credit is offered by financial institutions we partner with. And our work is to offer a platform where farmers' records are kept such that they can verify. And also, to be on check on behalf of the small-scale farmer, that the credit product that is offered to the farmer is customized to farming as a business, not any other credit, not a loan of 1,000 that could be given to anyone and the interest rate is flat. No. but it should be customized. Customized in terms of the repayment period, customized in terms of the interest rates, and customized in terms of how is it delivered. How is it delivered in the sense of priorities for the small scale farmer differ. And sometimes you find that when you give cash, if they take Fuliza, for example, if they take Mshwari, and it comes to their M-Pesa as cash, and then they find that, oh, by the time it lands on M-Pesa, the child just knocks at the door for school fees. What do? Do they buy fertilizer?
No.
So this customization that we mean is, if it is farming credit, can it be earmarked on the Agribora platform so that they can only redeem it for farm inputs? They can only redeem it for agricultural purposes. Get it? So this is our work, and that is the component of Agricopa. Now, the way to offer credit, even the banks, even the commercial institutions, as they do it based on trust. Trust is built over time. So the reason we encourage farmers to transact over the platform is so that they can build a transaction history that can be trusted by a commercial institution.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that trust, then we can, to some extent, say 70%, say that, fine, Nyakundi is a farmer. Look at his transaction records. Look at his statement. So that's one way that we verify it. Number two, the human touch that we spoke about. This is a farmer who is associated or affiliated to a hub. The hub manager is out for business. The hub manager is in business, which means he would not want to be party to fraud, such that his business falls because he was trying to favor a single individual. So the second verification or validation source is the hub manager, who transacts with this farmer, who sends messages to this farmer, who consolidates or aggregates produce from this farmer over time. They can verify and say, Nyakundi is a farmer. Yeah. So this is how we verify and validate that the person who joined Agribora 3 years ago and has been transacting with Agribora is a true and a serious farmer.
Right. Thank you so much, Frederick, for explaining that to us. But we are going to go for a short break. But when we come back, Frederick is going to explain to us how technology is integral in agribusiness. So don't go too far.